Hello all, thank you for having us today. We are Team 3, and we would like to thank you for allowing us to conduct this assessment. We had an extremely interesting time within your environment. We learned a lot about Oui Croissant as a whole, and we're looking forward to providing the technical details to help you secure your company better and provide value to your customers. I'll now pass it over to Marshall, who will introduce our team.
Hello and good morning. I'm Marshall McEwen and this is our team.
My name is Moat.
I'm Joel.
My name is Gabe.
And I'm Luke.
And then I'm Zach, our technical product manager.
Oui Croissant has been offering services to thousands of customers, and
So we would like to more to be talking about our methodology at school.
So our presentation testing focused on both the production environment and also the development environment. All of that conducted seamlessly and professionally without any business disruptions. For the production environment, which had the public-facing application, YYY.chat, and its underlying infrastructure, which was Azure. And we specifically choose to align with the CPTC scoring system, also known as the industry standard for scoring systems. And we made sure that we assess and prioritize the vulnerabilities based on criticality and severity. Also providing actionable insights and remediation plans to help your company be more resilient against future threats. And now I'm going to pass it to my friend Zach.
We'll now go over a brief overview of the risks we identified, and additionally go over the risks that were remediated between the last engagement in November. My apologies. To go over the remediations, we identified a SQL injection that affected the confidentiality of customer data. We were able to compromise customer data, and that has been remediated. Additionally, we identified misconfigured local administrator groups in Active Directory, which provided a path to authenticated access to your environment. Additional issues that we identified within the environment are consist of Active Directory misconfigurations, password issues, and account impersonation in YYY chat, which would allow any user to post as any user. So being able to spread misinformation campaigns or spread malware or any other sort of offensive campaign on your product. Additionally, we identified custom network applications used within Oui Croissant's internal network that were vulnerable to remote code execution. And then to summarize, the outstanding issues that were not remediated between our last assessment were high-level Active Directory issues, guest account being enabled, as I previously stated, misconfigured access control lists, which provided paths to escalation paths within Active Directory. And lastly, insecure email, or internal email systems, which allowed us to spread phishing campaigns and eventually land malware within the Oui Croissant network. I'll now pass it to Joe.
Hi team. So I would like to talk about the key strengths that our assessors took away from our engagement within your network. So first off, we did notice that Oui Croissant had done a really good job at keeping the Active Directory locked up. They had measures implemented that actually protected against attacks like golden ticket attacks, etc. The user accounts were taken care of. The admin passwords were rotated. Another thing that our assessors noted that was that we came across robust database security. We saw that customer data was protected to the best extent possible. We also saw that the SQL databases being used were also under heavy lockdown, and so we did have a hard time dealing with database security, that it was up to the notch. And finally, I would like to come to the application design. We come across a well-designed application which was up to par, but a few tweaks and adding a few more changes would definitely take it up a notch and implement robust security. With that, I would like to hand it over to Gabe.
So for the long-term risks, we identified some reductions that could, or some improvements that could generally help. There was an issue with termination policies in which there was an incident and a terminated employee still had access to the systems, and there was nothing to prevent them from being an insider threat. Reviewing the termination policies and ensuring that those get fixed would help greatly. Additionally, there was a lot of misconfiguration with local administrator groups in Active Directory that did provide routes towards exploitation of the system. Focusing on improving these and just in the long term, working to make sure that that's more solid will build a stronger security foundation for Oui Croissant.
To sum it up quickly to make sure we have time for questions, the short-term risk and medium risk reductions can basically be summarized as fixing configurations with how we are handling the permissions of users and machines within the network. It is far too easy to be able to get to administrative locations. And additionally, the web application securities have a lot of vulnerabilities that should be fixed as quickly as possible in order to prevent customer information leakage and additional stuff. I'm going to pass it off now to our technical lead for questions.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Very, very good. So my team is encouraging me to really push towards an overall zero trust approach for our infrastructure. So I'm wondering if you think that's consistent with what you found here.
We do not believe that zero trust has been implemented properly, and the security baseline within your environment is not configured properly to set you up to be in zero trust.
But should we?
You should implement privilege or principles of least privilege. We saw a lot of misconfigured accounts in there.
That's what I was wondering by that observation. That's good. Now, also on relative risk of the things that you found, I'm starting to hear a lot in the industry about quantifiable risk models like the open fair model. Have you guys looked at that at all? Would you recommend we look at that?
Our team does not have any experience with that model, but we tend to take a risk-based analytical approach. So we're focused on our risk ratings are focused on the business impact. So we're not specifically focused on a technical risk. We're more focused on what can affect the business, underlying operations, or cause financial damage.
Well, in fact, that's what those risk quantification models focus on, is the business impact in a dollar's point of view, which is some people think it's fantasy and some people are excited about it. But good. Any other questions, team?
Forgive me, I may have missed it when you talked about it, but you talked about how you said there was like an employee who had been terminated, but they still had access into the system earlier, right? Would there be, and like I said, I may have missed it, would there be in a similar vein some risk of like PII leakage in regard to that then that we should be concerned about? And if so, how would we go about addressing that? Like I said, I may have missed it, so if you could just review me if that's the
I'm going to
case.
hand this off to Gabe to answer that question.
So in this specific case with the terminated employee, it would depend on the full scope of access that they had during their employment. We did not fully review necessarily what their job functions were. We did so within the extent of what was necessary for the pen test. But it is not unreasonable to assume that they had access to confidential systems that needed to be secure, and that through that they could compromise PII or other sensitive company information.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, from a SOC perspective, we're thinking of some but so we're looking to